Oh, good morning, everybody. Get this microphone in position. You, buddy. Right. Fish and golf. Back on top with First Blood. Good morning, brother. Larry's with us, and I see Tim. Good morning. Yeah, what a time to be alive indeed. You know, I'm counting the days, Timmy boy, until we get back together at the mountain. Because, well, it's about that time. All right. And good morning. All right, it is day 3 of the DNC, and I'll tell you what, I would not even be talking about it if it were not for the jobs report numbers that came out yesterday. Uh, because I think, and so that brings me to where I think it's useful to kind of take a look at what they're peddling and compare it to what reality is. Uh, it needs to be, it cannot be overstated what how much the Democrat generally relies on subterfuge, dishonesty, and I mean just bald faced lies. So it's amusing. In order to help me prepare my show notes this morning, I asked ChatGPT to summarize the speeches last night so I could kind of pull some talking points. And I shit you not, this is straight from ChatGPT. Last night's Democratic National Convention in Chicago was a real snooze fest. The speeches were a masterclass in monotony, with every speaker seemingly trying to outbore the last. They droned on about the same old talking points: climate change, climate, infrastructure, diversity, blah, 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 in a way that made watching paint dry seem thrilling. The energy in the room was flatter than day old soda, and the attempts to rally the base felt more like a half hearted group therapy session than a political event. If this was supposed to inspire voters, they might want to rethink their strategy. Y'all, I've done whole episodes of this show on how left leaning and biased ChatGPT is, right? And now, in fairness, as it has been developed more and more, it could very well be the case that some of that bias has been stripped out of the coding because they got caught. Uh, but I mean, damn, that was scathing. And frankly, unmuted. Cameron asks, yeah, exactly. When did AI get so based? Right? So that really made my morning. Now, in all fairness, I did ask for it to give me a summary that was snarky and amusing about how bad the thing was, but I was not expecting it to go quite so ham. I mean, that was the kind of ham you want to throw alfalfa sprouts and Swiss cheese on top of. But in I mean, they swung for the fences. They broke glass in case of desperation, and they brought out Oprah. And I want to remind, so it's 2024. Uh, if you go and if you're talking to the voter that the Democrat seemingly wants to target, then in theory you're trying to attract the younger voters. You're trying to get those college students, right? You know what college kids say when you tell them that you've got Oprah coming on stage?
We can never say where it came from.
Damn. Guess I'm gonna have to cancel that Oprah interview. What is an Oprah?
What is an Oprah? We know who Oprah is because we were alive for the 80s and 90s, and Oprah was an absolute force. A force of nature, right? And to be fair, she's still a billionaire media magnate, but honestly, who gives a shit about Oprah today? Who's watching? Does Oprah even still have a show? Like, I'm legitimately asking. It used to be that Oprah had a show every day that all the women watched, and that's a large part of how Democrats get elected now. Is Oprah, who is an avowed anti-white, genocidal racist, made an absolute boatload of money convincing middle-aged, middle-class white women that they're evil for being middle-class and white, and that they should give everything away. And I mean, we're talking about Oprah. Remember the time Oprah? Well, those articles got out of order. Remember the time Oprah gave almost 300 people free cars, right? You know, this one's mimetic. This one's been memed. Everybody's seen the clip. You get a car, you get a car, you get a car, and a $6,000 tax bill. Oh, because I'm a black woman whose only valuable talent is running my mouth and basically committing hate crimes against America. So I don't know what fucking math is, which is why I'm a Democrat. Right? Democrats are Democrats largely because they don't understand what math is. They're hardly even aware of it, let alone where it has consequences in the application of law. Like, for example, if you get a sudden large windfall, then you get taxed. Right? Now, I speak on that now to bring us back around to this other point. I mentioned it yesterday. Kamala has only talked about 4 plans. She's copying Trump's homework on eliminating taxes on tips. And keep in mind, Trump said he wants to eliminate tax on tips, and then he said, and the income tax. I want to get rid of the federal income tax. Remind your friends that one of Trump's policy proposals is to eliminate the federal income tax. Like that is the most pro-America thing anyone can say. Eliminate tax. Not, I want to cut tax. I want to lower taxes. He did that, right? Last time around, he said, I want to lower the taxes. And the result was huge economic prosperity. Now he's saying, no, you know what? Fuck taxes. We don't need them. Oh, in fact, what do you know? The Constitution was pretty clear that we're not allowed to raise money through taxes of this type. If the government needs money, the government wants to raise revenue, it has to do it through tariffs or other means that do not involve taxing the individual wealth and prosperity of American citizens. That is a power that is explicitly forbidden the government. They had to pass an amendment to create the illegal IRS and begin collecting tax revenue. And by the way, IRS is still, even with the existence of an amendment that makes it constitutionally tolerable under the law for a federal income tax to be collected, the IRS exists in stark violation of the law because it causes you under threat of death to surrender your persons, properties, and papers in clear violation of the Fourth Amendment without due process. Every IRS agent is a criminal, just like every ATF agent is a criminal. That's not my opinion of them as people. That is the law. But Oprah came out and ran her mouth. Y'all, I remember Oprah coming out and running her mouth. I lived in Conyers for years and years. Off and on for 20 years. Off and on for almost 30 years. I am so glad to be out of Conyers again. But just down the street from Conyers, Georgia, there's a little town called Stonecrest. In fact, it wasn't even a town when it went wrong. Some developer built a mall in Stonecrest. It was a 20-minute drive from the house in Conyers when we still lived there. When I was in high school, we would go to the mall. I know, right? Kids these days, they don't remember. But we would go to the fucking mall, right? You go grab a bite of the food court. There was a Barnes and Noble. I was a book nerd, big old nerd. I even worked a couple of gigs at the Barnes and Noble in the late 90s and early 2000s. I'd put on the costume and play Hagrid for Harry Potter's birthday, sell some books, make some commissions. It was a good gig. Had a lot of fun doing. I even had a little pink umbrella. Had a lot of fun doing that. But they built the mall, and Oprah came out to the mall and did this big song and dance about how the mall was for black people. This mall is a great boost for black people. And now, right across the street from the same mall is the new Black Wall Street, which is this whole black supremacist economic venture over there that's all wrapped up in that black supremacist good old boys system that is essentially the local government of Metro Atlanta. Seriously, go Google almost any elected official in Metro Atlanta, and definitely Democrat, and you got about a 90% chance that they're black until you get up to the state offices, and then you've got Kemp, and well, I mean, might as well be. Anyway, she came out and gave this big song and dance about how Stonecrest is for black people, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Fast forward to about 2013, 2015, and there's a Best Buy right across the street from the mall. Big Best Buy, right? There's a Walmart, a Sam's Club right next to the Best Buy. Because of the crime rates, because of the levels of profit loss in the area, Best Buy moved to Conyers. Sam's Club just closed because Conyers has a BJ's, so Sam's Club wasn't going to go compete. They moved to Conyers. Y'all, on the long list of reasons I just left Conyers, the crime rate is on the list. We were live on this show 2 years ago, I think was when it happened, when a triple homicide went down literally 2 left turns from the house where the studio was at the time. I mean, if I wasn't stone deaf from too much combat, I would have been able to hear the gunshots. You go back and listen to the episode, you might be able to hear them over the microphone. Not just because I lived in Conyers, but more than once, a Rockdale County story has been featured on Firearms Friday for the DGUs. Remember the time a truck driver was getting up, 3, 4 in the morning to get in his truck, drive off, and an unknown number of black teens. This was in 2020, in the midst of all the masking stuff. An unknown number of black teens, right? And there's an unknown age range, but I believe he killed 2 and shot 3 others. God, I am getting flooded with. We must be having a really high viewer count this morning because I'm getting flooded with attempts to sell me viewers. See if I can hammer a couple of those down. But that happened right down the street where this group of guys, armed, masked, attacked this truck driver first thing in the morning. He opened fire on them, and the next morning, the sheriff referred to it as murder. He said that the truck driver had murdered those boys, and we gave him hell. It was like, no, this is not a murder. You can call it a homicide. You can call it a homicide because homicide is not necessarily a crime. That's technical definition stuff. You know, a human killed another human. That's homicide. Murder is when it was done with evil intent. And defending yourself against an armed horde of surly urbanites is not, I repeat, not an act done with evil intent. So, why are they having to reach down and scrape at the bottom of the barrel to pull out the Oprah? Well, you've heard Joe. Bidenomics is great. I've created more jobs than Trump did. Trump didn't create this. Created so many jobs. Joe Biden created so many jobs. 2 million jobs. Oh. The U.S. added 818,000 fewer jobs than earlier reported. Oh, really? Now, when I say that, this is not some pop-up tinfoil hat. Oh, they're lying about the numbers. Okay, I want you to think back to the 2012 election. The economy was in the toilet under Barack Obama. The jobs numbers were abysmal. The unemployment rate was over 9%. And the news was, the talking heads on the news kept saying over and over and over again, no president has ever been reelected with a higher than 8% unemployment rate. And then the October surprise was magically the unemployment number dropped from like 9.1 down to 7.7, 7.6, right? It dropped over a whole percentage point in basically a month. And Obama got reelected, and oh, hey, what do you know? The revised numbers came out. And that was at a time when literally every jobs report that came out was revised down after it came out. It'd come out and be like, oh yeah, we're doing great. We created 250,000 jobs this month. And then it'd come out, it was like, oh no, actually it was only 5,000 jobs, and they were all government jobs. No private sector. Oh wait, no, we got a new fry guy. At the McDonald's on Capitol Hill, we got a new fry guy. That's a job. That's one. It's a start. But no, it has long been a habit of the Democrat to overinflate and put out false numbers. But almost a million jobs that never existed, just completely imagined from whole cloth, so that Joe Biden can lie and tell you that his numbers are good, tell you that his economy is strong. So that he can repeat over and over again, look, I know your rent has doubled and your groceries have tripled and your gas prices have nearly quadrupled. I know it's costing you $300 to keep your house at a survivable 75 or 80 degrees during the summer heat in Georgia, right? I know you're broke, but y'all, that's just you. That's just you. You're not very good at money. You don't understand. The economy is actually going gangbusters. When Donald Trump was in office and gas was a $1.50 or whatever, and everybody had a job. Everybody's got a job today. No, everybody's got 3 or 4 jobs today, son. Remember under Donald Trump, the economy was so weak that you could only get a 2 or 3% interest rate on your mortgage. We're way stronger now. Look, the interest rates are 7, 8, 9%. That's a much bigger number. Oh God, Joe. I'm sure you've heard. I'm sure you've heard it many, many times before. But in this particular case, it is golf, right? The lower number is the good number, Joe. And so the whole time, what we're seeing out of the Harris-Walz campaign is we keep hearing it out of Biden and Kamala. In fact, we're hearing it more out of Kamala and much more out of the individual talking heads. Oh yeah, the economy's strong. We're doing great. Bidenomics is working. Everything's working. It's going according to plan. Everything's great. When they talk about the State of the Union, essentially. And then when Kamala starts talking about getting elected, keep saying, "Oh yeah, we're on it. We've got a great plan. We're going to fix all this on day one." When I'm in office, bitch, you're the vice president. You're in office now. When I've been elected and I have power, I'm going to end taxes on tipping. Do it now. Like Kamala is the clearest indication, is the clearest example of the basic primary operating strategy, right? The original standard operating procedure of the Democrat Party. Promise solutions, problems you create, and then do not deliver those solutions, right? The Democrats said they were going to fix Amtrak. We're going to take it over, right? We're going to take it public. Government's going to operate it for 4 to 10 years until it's solvent again, because it's such an important piece of infrastructure. And then we're going to turn it back over to private industry, and we're going to get completely out of it. Okay, y'all, that was in the late 60s. The government still owns Amtrak. They still own Amtrak. Every time a politician says the government's going to do something, I want you to just say, Solyndra. Oh, the government is just a much bigger version of the FBI. There's nothing that it has ever done that you cannot point to and say, hey, you made a problem, and then you solved it badly on purpose. Because it really is this simple, and I'll close with this. Math is this simple in the world of finance. There is nothing that you can do that the government cannot do for more money and less efficiently. Because for the government to spend $1, it costs. If I want to help a homeless guy on the street, I can walk over and buy him lunch, right? I can take him to Mickey D's, $10, Big Mac meal, have a nice day. And I just helped him out. I didn't solve his problem. I didn't make him not homeless. And that's a whole other conversation, because that math really is this simple. You cannot solve homelessness. That's not possible. They don't want to be solved. They refuse to be solved. Same thing with starving children in Africa. You can't fix it because you misunderstand the problem. You think the problem is that he's homeless. You think the problem is that the children don't have food, can't get at food. Or no, you think the problem in Africa is there's no food for the children to get. Those are not the problems, right? You can't solve a problem if you can't identify it. Thank you, Herman Cain. But it costs the government $3 to spend one. If you want to go and buy that, if you want to send a government agent to buy that guy a cheeseburger for $10, then you have to pay the government agent his $100,000 a year salary, plus medical benefits, plus retirement plan, plus You have to pay the agent to do it. Right? If you want to build a road, you can hire a road crew, and you buy materials and you pay the laborers, and the job gets done. When you get government involved, buy materials, you pay the road crew, you have to pay a bureaucrat to schedule everything, you have to pay another bureaucrat to maintain the books on what the code requirements are, you have to pay another bureaucrat to inspect all the work to make sure that it's compliant with the codes, etc., etc., etc. It costs at least $3 for the government to spend $1. That's why we are in debt. Now, coincidentally, and this is really just a testament to the power of the American economic machine, the current debt happens to be roughly the cost of the welfare state since its inception under the Great Society and Lyndon Baines Johnson. But that's just a coincidence, apropos of fucking. So, I said I was going to put a pin in it there, and I am. So thanks for watching this morning, guys. Tomorrow's Firearms Friday. Make sure you're back with us for that. We'll be doing some DGUs. Thanks for tuning in today. Be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow. Okay, hold on. I just saw this comment from Crackshot, and I gotta give you that one. He says sanctuary cities will be the solution to homelessness. Deep Space Nine predicted that one. So what you're suggesting? Okay, Hawaii, especially Oahu, has a lot of homeless people. They have a huge homelessness problem. It's not quite as visible as the problem in San Francisco, because they basically live on the beach. I could catch a flight to Hawaii and go do a show about that. There's a thought. These people live on the beach. And when I say they live on the beach, I'm talking mommy and daddy and a couple of kids in a tent on the beach, and they own one car that they used to go to work. So they get up in the morning, they get dressed, there's a public facility, or they actually bathe in the ocean, right? Drop the kids off at school, go to work, come home, and live in the tent on the beach. Now, part of that, there's a couple of elements to this. Part of that is white people can't own land in Hawaii. Neither can black people. In order to own land, you have to be a native Pacific Islander. There is an ethnic exclusionary rule for land ownership in Hawaii and Polynesia, right? So as a white boy, if I want to buy a house, I can buy the building, but I have to lease the land from a local native. The other problem, outside of just Democrat policies and island politics making it an unsustainable economic nightmare, the other problem is several years ago, this Democrat-run church up in the Northeast, I forget the exact details, but it was a couple of churches got together, and they bought a bunch of plane tickets, and they rounded up a bunch of homeless people and sent them to Hawaii. And they told the bums, look, it gets cold up here in the Northeast. You're likely to freeze to death. But if we put you on this plane and you fly to Hawaii, it gets cooler at the end of the year in the wintertime, but it doesn't ever get cold. You're not going to freeze to death down there. Plus, there's tropical fruit plants everywhere. You can just live on pineapples and mangoes and papayas. Have fun. And they put them all on a flight with a one-way ticket to Hawaii. They sent several thousand homeless people to Hawaii with, I mean, how the hell are they going to get off the island? It's not like they can afford a plane ticket. I'm sure some of them got down there and got jobs because their homelessness had nothing to do with individual poor life choices. They continued to make a bitch. But Crackshot, your suggestion, sanctuary cities would be the solution. So can we, basically, you want to just ship all the homeless people to one sanctuary city, or, you know, one or two sanctuary cities right along the border in, say, Southern California, and just feed them to MS-13. Now that would make for a hell of a TV. That would make for a great pay-per-view event. So, y'all be safe out there. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.